Scaramucci's got my whole staff twisted around his fingers already. They're going to make him look like he's 6'10". The midterms, you go about what's about to happen. The midterms are 4 weeks away. What issues matter? Where is the GOP in good shape? Were they in bad shape? Who will lead them into 2024? And is crypto going to make you rich? I got a man with all the answers. They just may not be all the right answers. Former White House communications director under Trump, Anthony Scaramucci, the author of the new book, which is very much worth a read, The Genius of Algorand. Anthony Scaramucci.
Hey, so good to be here.
Great to have you.
Thank you. Congratulations on the new show.
So
great to be here.
One of my senior producers gave me a fact about you that I'd never heard before. Is it true that you bought a Batmobile?
I own the Batman Returns Batmobile. They made 3 of them, Chris. And in my cousin Augie and I in 2004, we bought one of them at auction, and I drove around it on Halloween about 4 or 5 years. You know, it was built on a Ford 1FE. That's the car. Okay, and if you go to this, I don't know if you're allowed to say this, but there's a website, chicksdigthecar.com. I don't know if you're allowed to even say that on the air, but I did just say it.
You did. There you go.
Okay, but if you go to that website, you see the car. And because that's what Michael Keaton says as he's getting in the car. He goes, chicks dig the car, or chicks love the car. But in any event, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito were in the movie. We had the car for about 15 years, and we sold it to a automotive museum in the Middle East.
Own the Batmobile. That's big. That is you should tell people that more.
You see, because we like cars. Okay, your brother likes them.
Well, it's the Batmobile. Yeah. It's not like, you know. I know you got some fancy cars. You know,
who's talking?
It's a good thing you don't have that. It's a good thing you don't have that Mets-colored car anymore. Because you know your team is DOA.
It's been a house of pain the last couple of days for our team.
The Mets are gone. All right. From what we enjoy as our passions, let's now turn to politics. When you look at where your party is, the Republican Party, do you think that they are focused on the right things for the midterm?
They're going to win the midterms despite themselves. No, they're not focused on the right thing.
When you say win, by the way, what do you mean? You think they take the House or the Senate?
I think they take both. At this point, right now, with 30 days to go, if you asked me that 60 days ago, I would have said it's probably a mixed bag. But I do feel like they're going to win the House and the Senate right now. Now, 30 days, you and I both know, is like 3 Scaramuccis. Okay, that's an eternity in politics, right? So we don't know 100%, but if you look at inflation, you look at the specter or the appearance of crime, you look at the issues related to the war and things like that, people are generally not happy right now. And listen, incumbents happen to lose midterms. You know, Reagan lost a midterm.
Historically, a new president, the first
except
midterms,
for George W. Bush during a war.
There were a handful of where it didn't go that way, but the predominant trend is bad.
Correct.
Now, you don't believe that the January 6th, the democracy drama, what happened with reproductive rights, you don't think that that may create a little bit of a net effect where it stays how it is?
I don't think it'll necessarily stay how it is, but if they lose those Senate seats and they put up some very weak candidates, you've got a reasonably weak candidate in Georgia with Herschel Walker. You've got Dr. Oz. I think
you only believe that he's reasonably weak even after the last week?
I'm trying to be generous. I don't know the guy personally. The guys I really know I can really opine about. But look at J.D. Vance as an example, another weak candidate. And so if you look at the Republican Party, had they marshaled better candidates, candidates who are in the bandwidth of Republican Party normalcy, you probably would have won those easily.
Here's my question. I hear what you're saying.
That's a MAGA infection, if you will.
But I feel like your party, though, I feel like people who are Republicans who are watching right now is being like, Anthony's out of step. He's just angry with the former president because of what happened between the two of them. We don't want moderate candidates. They lose. We have to have guys who are all in, ride or die. Isn't that where your party is?
Yes. So I was at Mitt Romney's event over the weekend in Park City, Utah. Lord Ashcroft was there, the pollster. And he said, like it or not, this is a more moderate group of Republicans at this gathering, but like it or not, your party is MAGA. And he listed all the statistics as to why it is MAGA. Having said all of that, I think there is some MAGA fatigue. And now you could say that that's my anger. I think it's my objective observation based on what the suburban housewife and suburban America is generally polling. You know, they don't like the anger. They don't like the bullying. They don't like flying human beings around the country for political purposes. Okay, I got the fact that liberals are elitist and hypocritical and send these people to Martha's Vineyard to give them a taste of their own medicine. I understand all that, but these are real human beings. They could have been your grandmother or my grandmother, Chris. And I think people that love people don't like political stunts, meaning people being used for political stunts. So for me, that's where I am. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's no anger. Trust me, I'm having a great time, and I have no reason to be angry at anybody. I think the anger is something that people are getting tired of, though, on their side.
Well, look, it all depends on who you're talking about. We know for a fact that you're right. A big part of the premise of this show is that the majority of America is not fringe. It's not social media. It's not extreme. It's reasonable people who are basically a little socially liberal. They're center-left liberal. They're center-right fiscally conservative. They're typical break. And they are tired of it. The question is, do the parties play to that in this zero-sum game that they're in? Which leads me to my next question to you. You see your party taking a different direction in 2024 than the one that seems obvious right now, which is the former president. It's his to, really not even to lose, it's his to give away.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that one, actually, so I hope so. You know, like I was.
You think he runs?
I was with Senator Manchin, Governor Romney or Senator Romney, former Speaker Paul Ryan, and General Kelly this weekend. I looked at those four men and said, my God, if these guys were running the country, we could all rest a little easy. I do think President Trump runs again. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't run again. If you look at his poll numbers, he wins the nomination if he runs. Okay, I think that is the facts. Okay, you just have to speak objectively about it. Can he win the general election? Let's say there's a matchup of President Biden and then former President Trump. I think he loses that election. Now, maybe I'm wrong about that. You'll think I'm talking my book because I dislike the president. Not so much his policies, but his personality and the megalomania and the sociopathy around the personality. He was intellectually incurious. He lacked the executive management skills for that job. You may like some of his policies, but the truth be told, he was not the right guy to be the president. So my message to my fellow Republicans is find a better messenger, find somebody more normal that can project your policies without the mania and the hysteria. But he does run, and he does win the nomination as of right now, but we're 2 years away from that. You and I both know, Chris, a lot of things can happen.
Sure.
He's got legal issues. He's in a battle on J6. He's in a battle here in New York on the Trump Organization. He's got the issues in Georgia. Now, maybe he skates all of that because he's the Teflon Don, or maybe he doesn't. What do we know about these people? When they fall very quickly, and he's not nice to people. And so, you know, when people fall and they're not nice to people, they land pretty hard.
Why should people read your book?
Well, I wrote a book about the blockchain. I tried to explain to people what the technical elegance is of the blockchain. That's a particular layer 1 protocol that I like a lot. So I do own that, fully disclosed. I own Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, the FTX token. Why do I own these things? I believe this is a better technological protocol to do transactions with. It'll make our society more decentralized, which ultimately decentralization leads to more fairness. And it's a wonderful delayering mechanism. There'll come a time, Chris, hopefully, where you and I are at a restaurant together and we'll use our smart wallet and pay the restaurant directly and avoid the 3% surcharge from the credit card companies.
Gotcha.
And so this is just better technology. Over time, it'll be used. Right now, it's being disparaged because we're in a woeful, Fed-induced bear market.
Anthony Scaramucci, you're a smart man who knows a lot of things.
Hey,
thank you very much for being here.
Good to be here. Thank you for raising my seat, by the way. Okay.
We got matching rings, by the way. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah,
Like
that means
is that Illuminati?
Does this tell you that you're sleeping terribly? It tells me that I'm sleeping terribly every night.
Every time I download the data, it says I'm going to die.